Welcome to the First 40 Sports Show with the Goon Squad, Blackthorn, Icewater, and Puma. This is our last show for the season. We usually take a hiatus during the summer and come back for the NFL picks. And we know you love the NFL picks, so we'll be back for the NFL picks. But we're going to go right into the NBA playoffs. And I know, Black, I was saying that, it was going to be Golden State in 6, but I got a feeling this is going to go 7. But there's some players that really surprised me. And the person I thought about, and I didn't want to think about this person because he's not in the playoffs, he's not around, but LeBron James and how he gave up on Andrew Wiggins. And Wiggins has been balling. I've never seen Wiggins play like this before in my entire life. But when Steph kind of went cold, this guy kind of just took over defensively. They put him on Jay Tatum all the time. And what I'm finding out is that, and I said this in a couple of shows before, that when Boston turns over the ball, they have a lot of problems. And I'm finding out, and I was on the phone with Pop, and I started noticing this, is Tatum can't go left. He can't go left, and he has no handles. And so when they double team him, they're creating some of those. It seems like he panics, and he's turning it over. But I felt, Black, and I'm going to turn it over to you, that this was the opportunity Boston could have had Steph going 0-4 in 3 points and just not hot there. I thought Boston, this was their time to get up on the series and bring it home to Boston, and they might have pulled this off. But letting them get off the hook with this, I think, this may be the series.
To me, they got off the hook in Game 4. I mean, I know everybody will go to Steph Curry. I know he scored a lot of points in Game 4, but I see Boston when it sometimes it's amazing. They look like, if you go back to Game 1 and look at the Boston Celtics in Game 1, we haven't seen that team again since. We haven't seen them. They don't play consistently with confidence. They don't basically do the things that kind of get them there. And you're right, when they turn the ball over a lot, I think if they turn it more than 15 times, their ratio of winning really dips dramatically. But Tatum, as much as I love the brother, he's got a lot of growing up to do. You could talk about Kobe Bryant all you want, the mama, bro. You got a lot to go. You got to understand. And even I heard his coach say this, I think after Game 4, sometimes 2 points is just as good, bro. He falls in love when they're playing great defense on him, sticking at the 3-point line, staying there and just shooting bad shot after bad shots. And that's what they did in Game 5, in my opinion. The last 5 minutes, Boston said, you know what? We're not going to move. We're just going to play one-on-one basketball. Give me a high screen, and I'll take my man. And you're not going to beat Golden State like that, bro. You're just not. And then they come down on offense. They make you work until your tongue's hanging out your mouth. You're not going to beat them. Now, I'm going to give Brown credit because I think he's a true dog, and I think he steps up at time. He does a little bit too much, and I think his legs kind of get a little weak, and he do some bad things, but he has the heart. Tatum, that brother just doesn't have it. And Wiggins, I can't go back, the comment you made earlier about Wiggins. Realistically, to me, we're just seeing it now in the past year, bro. I'm going to say the past maybe 6 months. So in that sense, I can't say, when LeBron gave up on him, I wanted Wiggins to do this 10 years ago when he was in Minnesota. And then I'd be like, yeah, but he made the right move. But I'm going to say something, man, that may not, go over well. You got to give credit to Steve Kerr because Steve Kerr has a way, man, of coaching, bro. I mean, I said this last year. Or the past 2 years, he wasn't coaching back then to win a championship. He was coaching when they got ready to win one, and now they're ready. So he's brought these guys along. So what you're seeing with him, Wiggins, it's been Steve Kerr molding for the past year and a half, getting them ready and getting them there. We could turn them loose. I'm surprised he's not playing the rookie more. I can't think of the guy's name that was awesome throughout the regular season, but just kind of put him on the bench and forgot about him. But that's coaching, bro. That's what you see. That's bona fide coaching with this team because sometimes when they're not on, they've been molded enough to say, you go do this, you go do that. Look at the game where he pulls Draymond Green.
Right.
And now Draymond Green at that point basically was like, you know what? I'll shut up and all. But overall, man, and I wanted, when I was rooting for Boston to win this series, but I said in the beginning, even when I'm beyond the experience, Boston plays like a Jekyll and Hyde. When they're Jekyll, they're knocking it down. They're doing all these things. And then when they're Hyde, it's like they go into a shell. And you don't know what you're going to get. I mean, even Horford, Game 1, I haven't seen that from Horford since. You haven't seen it. It's like, and I know he's of age, but it's like they give it to you a little bit and they take it away. And then once they get in a role of where it's not going well, they cannot turn the tide, bro. They just can't turn the tide. And Golden State has way too much. You can't make those mistakes. They punish you for your mistakes. They remind me of the old New England Patriots. When you make mistakes, they feed on it. They just like come in. It's like vultures. They feed on. And when you make 15 or 18 turnovers, trust me, you're giving them points. And then when they could just, when you're gonna allow Curry to come off a screen and look at him, lights out, bro. So that's what we're seeing. I almost don't want to even watch Game 6. I really don't, because I don't think it's gonna be pretty.
Yeah. Don't fall out your chair when you hear this, but I have to agree with you on Kerr. He's looking like Popovich at this particular point. Now, I still fell out on his chair. Black got a Kool-Aid smile on, but I have to agree with you. It kind of is reminiscent of Popovich, how he uses his players, how he he coaches to the moment. And you don't see a lot of NBA players, coaches doing that right now. Coaching to the moment. If a player's not hot, let me pull him. Let me put somebody else in. When's the last time you hear Iguodala being in the game? He wasn't even worried about Looney fouling out. He was putting in other folks in because he had so many tools to work with. And these guys are ready. He was preparing them last year and the last couple of years, and they're ready. I just can't say enough about Wiggins. Wiggins is that type of player too, where he'll disappear and you kind of got to snap him into, get his attention again. But his aggressiveness, Ice, I haven't seen this from him in a long, long time.
Yeah, you mentioned a very valid point about Steve Kerr. And you look back at some of the old school teams. Even go back to Phil Jackson and the Bulls, right? You see guys like Cartwright on the bench. Cartwright didn't play all year. All of a sudden, he started bringing in minutes. When they had Bill Edwards, they got Bill Edwards from the Detroit Pistons. All kind of guys that would, come in and just do things. It was like 18 fouls at the center position. They did enough. And when you see what Iguodala, he has that stamp of a championship caliber, right? You got to realize he's more or less dude was a former MVP. So he knows the game in and out, and he doesn't need to do a lot. See, that's what's wrong with basketball now. These new guys, everybody, I'm an old folk, I'm cool with that. But these new guys, everybody trying to score the points and trying to get all the accolades. But the way that you win basketball games, Golden State is putting this down and showing it to you old school ways. It's all about chemistry. You have to have other guys willing to sacrifice their games, do whatever it takes so the stars can be stars, right? So when Steph Curry has a game off, somebody else has to rise to the occasion. So you see Paul getting a little out of control, but he's starting to hit shots that stuff he dreamed about. And he's doing stuff that's amazing. Klay Thompson's doing just enough. Draymond Green, even the last game, hasn't been playing well at all, but he gave him enough of the push. But at the beginning of the series, I mentioned to you guys that, I mentioned some other folks too, that I thought that the equalizer, the difference was going to be Wiggins. Because Wiggins is a mismatch. He's a mismatch, particularly for them. He's too quick for the center Williams, right? Who started out checking him, and he's too big for White. So who you gonna put on him? You literally had to put Smart on him, but you cannot afford to put Marcus Smart on him because you take Marcus Smart off Steph Curry. So what's next? And I think when you see that the other thing about Wiggins too, I watched him in college and I was like, I just swore I thought Cleveland should pick him. I thought they should pick him because I thought he was ready, but they went the route of Kevin Love. And I think a lot of it was he had a lot of potential and we didn't see it. But I think you hit on a major point. Came down to coaching, man. What kind of coach? That's the problem. I'll get off this real quick. You have very talented individuals in the NBA, but everybody thinks you just roll the balls out, not coach guys. Everybody needs to be coached. Even the greatest players need to be coached. They need some instruction so they can be the greatest that they can be. And you're seeing that right now in front of Wiggins. Wiggins right before your face. He's making it happen. Wiggins has played the most minutes so far in this series for Golden State. He's averaging 18 points, 9 rebounds, leading rebounder, leading, guy in blocks, and he's just getting it done. And Kerr turns that switch on, and you can just see it. He'll either shake out and wait for guys bigger than him. He'll shoot that fadeaway jumper. And if you're too small and White, he back him down and shoot that just enough shot where he's feeling no pain. He is so confident, it's ridiculous. And it's really helping Golden State because Steph is like, well, I can drop 40, but I don't have to do it every night. Like the other night, he didn't have a three. And then on the flip side, when you look at Boston, Jason Tatum is struggling learning how to be a superstar. Is he the best player on their team? Clearly. But it's more than that, man. It's more than that when you're becoming a leader of a team. And they need him right now. And unfortunately, he can't give them what they need. The other part you guys mentioned too is the factor that there's not enough support. Brown's up and down. Okay, White's not scoring enough, right? And then it's just other guys are not stepping up to the plate for them and doing what they have to do. And when Tatum is struggling in this series, he looks good. He gets his regular 23 points a game, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, but he's shooting only 37% from the field. Okay. In fact, you mentioned about he fell in love with the three. You know why? Because he had a higher shooting percentage from the three than the two. I'm serious. When you look at it, you'll see. So he fall in love because he's like, well, man, that's going in, but it's not enough. He's shooting 37% from the field, which is something that makes you But the coach is really trying, and Marcus Smart with his outbursts is not helping that team. It's not. And he's supposed to be the type of glue guy. And he had a couple moments, and they went after him and a couple of phantom fouls, and he is losing his mind. Actually, he's doing a worse job of handling himself, keeping himself together than Draymond Green.
Yeah, that's
you see that going like
in his head now.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. You see that, and what they really need Robert Williams to do more. I just think
he's still hurt.
Yeah, I think so too. I think they're just young, and you're right. They have moments where you're like, okay, they're gonna do like they did before. We ran this down before. They're gonna do it like they did before. They're gonna fall back a little bit, and then they're gonna overtake like they did Brooklyn, right? They don't come back. They play Milwaukee the same way. They fall down, here they come again. Same way, you know how they doing with Miami. Come over, take it again. They're like, well, we see them the same way. They have opportunities. Now they're going to take big bad Golden State now. But what happened? Well, what happened was Golden State is like, nah. And you can see Wiggins was like, yeah, Steph. I told people, you can say what you want to. They trying to call it a flu moment or whatever. Nah, he showed me he was a all-star legend right there, bro. They needed that for one, just because he scored 40 points, but the way that he did it and where they was coming for him. Everybody in the building knew who was shooting the rock. Steph Curry was like, it's two of y'all. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do the tricks. I'm going to step in between y'all, and I'm going to shoot this floater, and then I'm going to score it. But overall, now they're in a perfect position. I think it's going to be very difficult for Boston to win 2 straight. I would not be surprised if Golden State, if they play decently, unless Boston has one hell of a game, which they could, I could see them ending in 6 in Boston.
Yeah.
I could see it being over in 6. Could it go 7? No doubt about it. But I can see Golden State feeling like that pressure's on them a little bit now. If they don't score those points, we know that Boston has struggled at home, right? From time to time, you start getting in their head, coach trying to figure out something, guys get frustrated. Marcus Smart goes off the end. You're like, what's going on? So with all that being said, that's the type of thing that Golden State and also their coach Steve Kerr is going to step up and take advantage of. And we already know this. Steph Curry is not going to have two bad games.
Right.
He's not going to be out twice.
Right. One thing that Patrick Beverley, I remember this clearly. He said it weeks ago. If you're not scoring more than 110 points against Golden State, you're not going to win. You're not going to win. They're going to outscore you, whether or not you're the best defensive team or not. Black, you got something else on this?
It was a small thing they pointed out in that game. Steph was looking at his fingers like something was wrong with it. And it was a guy, I guess one of the assistant coaches, and was looking at it and was talking about it. And you wonder if there's something he's not saying anything about it. I mean, I will have to say that game to me, because I've always kind of been like with Steph Curry, I appreciate his greatness, what he does, but there's been some games where, key games where he kind of disappears. But game 4 to me solidified him as just being who he is for the most part, because like I said, it was coming for him. It doesn't matter what they were throwing at him. He was just in that, what we call back in the day, old school basketball. He was in that zone, baby. When you get in that zone where everything basically, the rim looks big and everything just kind of just falls in, no matter where you shoot it from. And he was there. And I kind of felt like the referees allowed him to play a little more physical too in game 4. And they were kind of pushing him a little bit. but he was knocking it down. So he basically put his stamp on this series to kind of elevate the series and win. And take that, even with Meyer and Kern, I do have to admire the coach of Boston Celtics, because to get them there is one thing. He's kind of done very well in this series, but he says the right things to his teammates, but I mean his players. But sometimes their execution is just not there. The mental execution is not there. Mm-hmm. I think sometimes when things start to happen, they fall back on old habits. But overall, it's been a very good series, man. It's been a very good series, and been good, pretty good basketball.
Let me stay with you on this top story that you sent me about Willie Snead IV, who reveals why wide receivers don't come to Baltimore. I thought this was very interesting, and you and I know you and Ice were exchanging. I was looking at it. I'm like, there's nothing else I could say with this, but he was saying basically that they're not creative offensively. But I want you to go into the story a little bit more.
Yeah, he pointed out the offensive coordinator. If I'm not mistaken, this guy was the offensive coordinator of Colin Kaepernick. I mean, I could be wrong. I think years ago he was with 49ers, and he's basically a run offense-oriented type of guy. And he was saying, because I was wondering last year, why receivers, everybody just avoided Baltimore. Yeah. I mean, they just kind of like to play, no, I'm not going to Baltimore. And he pointed out that they realized that they're not going to get the ball that often. They're not going to be thrown to them as much. And they want to run the ball, so they're going to, got to get their shine. And as we know, wide receivers in the NFL are divas, bro. When you look at Tyreek Hill, who knew he had that type of diva in him? But wide receivers are divas. They want the ball. They want attention. They want the flash. They want the touchdown. Want to do the dancer. So they're avoiding him for that reason, because they don't see themselves going there. And when you think about this, I took a little further than the article, because I'm saying to myself, I see why now it's a possibility Lamar Jackson hasn't signed, because he's thinking, okay, what can I really do in this offense? He's got to be thinking the same thing, because if receivers are thinking this and talking, you don't think that talk got to him? It ain't got it got to his ears, because even the receiver that got traded, I think his name was Jones or John, when he left, that was his boy. So you mean to tell me your boy is getting traded, asking for a trade, and ain't telling you why?
And then I think Hollywood Brown jetted out of there.
That's his boy. So if your boy's leaving, he's telling you why I got to get out of here. So when you think about Lamar Jackson saying to himself, okay, why am I going to tie myself up here with a long contract if they're not going to change and get me something better than this and open up and allow me to be the quarterback that I can be? And I said, basically, when you think about it, if he just chooses not to sign after this year, they can franchise him for 2 years, and after that, he can go. He's still a young man. And at the same point, he's got to be thinking, for a long-term career. I could run the ball, but do I want to be Cam Newton?
Yeah, he's not going to last too long running.
Exactly. And his mom's his manager, so I'm sure she's thinking the same thing. If they're not going to put you in a situation that's going to basically allow you to have longevity, if they won't do it, somebody else will. So and it's so funny, because when I thought about that, I haven't heard that angle on any network, no other sports show, nothing. They're all like, what is he waiting for? What is he waiting for? I think that's the golden age right there.
Yeah. Ice, you made a great comment, and you keep hitting this, the ex-coach of the Houston Texans. Well, I can see why Lamar, because I always thought it was Lamar's fault. Lamar wasn't getting the ball down the field. Lamar, wasn't looking for receivers. That's the way the optics kind of looked watching the Baltimore Ravens, that Lamar was kind of just taking control when things kind of fell apart. But when I saw this article, I'm like, oh, okay, now it's making a lot of sense now.
Yeah, I mean, and you've been wondering like why, well, maybe they just not doing enough and they're not running them in the right routes. But then when you start to see in fantasy football, people will tell you, when you start seeing Mark Andrews being the most valuable player on that squad, there's a problem. I'm just saying, I mean, I love Mark Andrews. I played fantasy. I had him as my tight end, and I loved it. I loved every moment. I couldn't wait for him to just play, because all they looked for was him. And with that being said, then again, I know you don't want me to add David Culley, the former Houston Texans coach, but the one of the years David Culley was there, he was the assistant head coach, and he was the receivers coach.
Yeah.
So you add in the offensive coordinator now, and we know what David Culley does. he doesn't like wide receiver. He likes to run the ball. Have Alex Smith, the year today we was with Kansas City, no wide receiver caught a touchdown. If you think this is crazy, and I'm just picking on this man, the trail doesn't lie, bro. You know, if you see the crumbs, you keep going and you compare the stats, you find out what's going on there. But Hollywood Brown was like, bro, I'm better than this. I'm better than this. And again, you had the tight end was making these things happen. And unfortunately, Jackson was forced to throw the ball to the tight end the whole time. Mm-hmm. Now, what did they do in the draft? They went and drafted 2 more tight ends. Dude, are you kidding me? They went offense deep. They went offensive line a little deep. And then I'm like, okay, well, now you got to move for a little wide receiver. They're like, nah. The Pins, somebody, whoever, 2 more tight ends, bro. I telling you what they're trying to do. And there's no way, as a player, if I'm Jackson, don't sit back watching the draft somebody. You see what they got? I'm like, you can't convince me that we're going to be better when you draft 2 more damn tight ends. There's no way. I'm just going to go like, well, I just threw it to old boy how many times last year, and he was great. But
just lost Hollywood Brown.
Yeah, we ain't got no threat. We can't even get, we can't get Sammy Watkins up in this piece. You know what I'm saying? Nobody want to come here. I'm trying to get T.O. to come back. That's how desperate the situation is right now. So no wonder Jackson's really probably looking at the situation. Mom like, hey boy, you better watch yourself now. They ain't right. They ain't trying to help you. They ain't trying to help you.
One of the things I think is interesting with this story is that, wide receivers have they have to make certain numbers in their contracts. And so if you got a quarterback or have an offense that's not going to help you make your money, then why would you want to stay there? Why would you even go? So, how many catches, how many touchdowns, touches, things of that sort, there are incentives to that. And so if you have a contract that's based on that and an offense is not going to cater to that, you got to get out of there.
Yeah, you're right. That's the whole thing. It's not like Hollywood Brown was saying, I'm running the wrong routes. The whole season? You just keep throwing the ball to the tight end. It's great. He's all pro. Like I told you, I had him on the fantasy football team I was messing around with. And I loved him because I knew he was going to get a bunch of points. But they were not throwing the ball to the wide receivers, even when they had more wide receivers. And Snead is not the greatest wide receiver, but he's had moments. They've had decent wide receivers. So that rolls back to the coaches. So you can say what you want to, and people are like, oh, well, if they just need to do more as far as wide receivers are concerned. I'm like, you know what? The numbers don't lie. And Jackson must be frustrated as hell. So they try to play old school football, real old school football. And they're just finally starting to get a decent running game. They're going to be good. Couple backs come back on the running game. But after that, you got to throw the ball down the field at some point. This is not the 68 Packers. At some point, you got to throw the damn ball, bro.
Yeah, I think, and if you look at that division he's in, man.
Oh yeah.
You look at Cleveland. He sees this. You look at Cleveland. Look at that division. You look at the FC in general. These quarterbacks, these young guns are lighting up. And you're standing there. Look at Burrows. You look at him. At some point, Pittsburgh's going to find it. They're going to find the right number. He's going out there. They got Uzi. He's going out there with a water gun, bro. So it's like, at some point, he's got to be. He's a smart young man. He's got to be thinking this. It's like, why am I committing myself to go out here and get beat up, battered, and bruised, and take a lot of money, but we ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
We ain't going nowhere. No. You win some games, but
I thought they were that team that was going to take that next step, and it just never happened. It just never happened. In that Ice, I'm going to steal a little thunder from Blackdoor in his WNBA report, and there's a topic about Brittany Griner. The Russian government, state-run news said that, hey, we're extending her stay here until July 2nd. What do you think about this story, man? Is there any hopes that she will be home by the 4th of July or sometimes in July or sometime before the season is ended?
Wow. It's tough, man, because your heart feels for her, right? You feel for the family, but this is serious stuff. People just throwing it away like she didn't do anything. You kind of did. Yeah, when you look at the law and you interpret it how we may interpret laws differently, but whatever they're saying is they're like, we got her. And I'm not sure right now there's enough of an incentive for Russia to release her. I know they mentioned there was some kind of, I don't think that was a drug cartel or somebody was a very important person that was dealing with drugs that they were talking about trading her for.
He was selling arms. He was
yeah,
selling
arms, right.
Yeah.
I think they're still talking about that. But then you got to realize there's another gentleman that has been waiting a lot longer than her. They're still trying to get out. And I'm sure his people are looking at it some way, like, just because she's a WNBA player, why does she deserve to come on before our guy? So there's a lot of stuff going on. And again, they have no incentive. And there's nothing America could do right now except for trade her. Are we going to go over there and start a war and grab Brittany Griner? I don't think so. And considering what's going on with the war right now, and then with the whole Ukraine stuff like that too, I think they're using her as a bargaining chip, as a way to kind of play with the United States to do whatever. And it's really sad. And to be told, the other thing, I'm gonna keep this 100 with y'all, and I'm gonna have a sip because I think
Dennis.
I'm gonna have a sip to calm my nerves. Because here's the thing. There's no, y'all laugh if you want to, but one thing this man could do, he couldn't do nothing else. If somebody was across the waters, he could bring their behinds home. There's no Jesse Jackson to bring her home, bro. Laugh if you want to. Jesse would talk to Gaddafi. He talked to Mandela. He talked to whoever. And he bring them home. There's no Jesse Jackson, bro. I mean, Biden and no girl, Mala, all that. Nobody is able to bring her home because by now this will be over. So it doesn't look good. I know the WNBA is trying to, oh, we're strong. Again, like I said, everybody's putting their fist up and bring her home. It's going to take more than that, man. It's going to take more than that than people making public service announcements. And that's damn sad.
Black, I got to get your words on this, man.
Piggyback on what I said, they're treating her with, Penny Thomas, everybody like she do nothing. They act like their response to this whole situation, and it's kind of like the American way. Act like she's totally innocent and the Russians just big bad people. Wrong. I don't see the incentive for the Russian government to basically, they're doing their business to say, wait a minute, she's a WNBA player. If we grab her and accuse her of trying to bring this out of the country, we can get what we want. I mean, even the guy that is being out there, but the arms thing, what is the benefit? That cat's been in jail for a while. What's the benefit of getting released? You think they really care about? To me, the Department of Justice or whatever it is selling the WNBA a bunch of BS here, bro.
Wow.
They're acting like they're talking and they're doing this, and they realize they have no control. When they came out and said to me that she's being held unjustly, I was like, right there, that's PR. That's PR. And they want to act like they're working on her behalf and blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, you got to be honest about it. She's in a foreign land. And who are we to stand there and go, well, she done nothing when you weren't there? You weren't there. So it's amazing to me. I hit them at the games, she needed to come home. We got this one comment. She needed to come home. Wait a minute. What does that mean when you say she needed to come? They just automatically, when they hear Penny Thomas say, whoever her name is, say, oh, you know what? Let's put in the first plane, get her back to the United States. Bruh, by their standards, if it's true, and I know it's alleged, she committed a crime. Let's not forget that fact. She committed a crime, and it's not here in the United States where you bail out and go home. It's not. So to me, when they keep delaying these dates back, yes, what is the urgency for them to turn her loose? Or to do, and they act like in January, like said they're gonna put her on the plane and fly back. No, they might just say, this is how the court process works. But I believe they're being played with, bro. I believe they're being played with on their feelings. They talked to the WNBA yesterday, had them on Zoom. What did they say? And then she got extended. So I'm sorry. It's sometimes you gotta look through the trees in the forest to see the sunshine and see the clouds. And I know what your heart wants, what your emotion wants. You want a home, your wife wants them, all that great. She went on HBO and Biden got bigger fish to fry than getting Brittany Griner home. And if you think for a second that's the first thing on top of his agenda list, that's why he talked to you. Come talk to me. Are you nuts? So I mean, it's amazing to me how we wrap ourselves in this blanket of emotions, and then from that expect things to happen. The reality is she's in a foreign land. At this present moment, it's not favorable to the United States government. and they're not basically willing to just go, oh, you know what? Okay, I know you guys get high up there all the time. Go ahead. She disrespected their law. Period. That's what I'm gonna say, bro. So whatever happens, happens at that point. But if it's true, she disrespect. Just like when you go anywhere in a foreign land, a foreign country, when you as an American travel anywhere, if you show a lack of respect for what they do, they're not gonna be happy.
Yeah. It's a tough situation. We'll wait. We'll see when we come back after the summer how this is resolved. Ice, you and I love Montrezl Harrell, but come on, man. He got caught in Kentucky with 3 pounds of marijuana in his car in a traffic stop. He's up for free agency. It ain't looking good at this particular point. Your thoughts about this story?
Well, first of all, I had to look at the law because first I need to know how much he had. I'm always researching. So I had to look at, first I thought it was 5 pounds. Yeah. And then I looked at I was like, damn, that's a lot of weed. I looked at 5 pounds. I said, if it was all together, I looked at it. Then I said, wait, no, it wasn't 5. Now they charged him with the law of so-called trying to traffic less than 5.
Yeah.
Then I had to pull back and then I had to go through my resources and find out what 3 pounds look like. Anyway, I had to go through my resources and see what 3 pounds is still a lot on your person, right? To be holding. And he's a free agent and granted, it's not looking good. And it's in Kentucky. Yeah, okay. I live in Ohio. We know about Kentucky.
Yeah.
They you know what, you're down here, you're athletes down here, you got to rent a car and think of y'all this and that, and by God, you know what? We're not going to have it down here. We're going to date. Not going to fly down here, buddy. By God, my country to the least sweet liberty of D.I. saying. Anyway, but I'm just saying in Kentucky with Harold, I think it's very difficult for him right now. It does not look good, but the caveat is, and I'm not saying it's going to be easy. There's money involved, and we know what money does in this country. And we know that when the NBA or somebody to that effect, that type of organization, if they intervene, then all of a sudden things change. If it was you and I, Blackthorn said this so eloquently the other week about the difference between people doing the same type of situation or working the same type of jobs is money. And I think part of that comes down to where all of a sudden Hero is in the situation, doesn't look good. And of course it's a felony, but it's not the largest of felonies. And then all of a sudden it's like a donation is made where the United Way or they get some type of medical building or whatever it is, caveat, whatever they need. All of a sudden there's a donation made toward the church building fund or whatever it may be. And it just all follows, and all of a sudden there's a slap on the wrist. And it's like, okay, now don't do that again. And definitely if you do it again, don't bring your ass back to Richland, Kentucky, wherever he was at. So these things have a way of working themselves out. As harsh as it may sound, it's not really that big a deal to some, and it can be worked out for a fee. And there are a lot of extra coins, and I know you're gonna say about the legal system, but I'm trying to tell you, people have walked away, and let me say this with all honesty and all with no jokes aside, people have gotten away with worse, manslaughter and all of the above, and were still back on the court because of money and connections. And I think if this might be the same situation here, not on the higher level, but the way that they can make it disappear because money talks and BS walks, especially in this situation.
So Black, the officer said that he smelled the odor of marijuana. He admitted that he had some in his sweatpants, a small amount. But if you admit you have a small amount, they call in the dogs to sniff around and find out you got more. I mean, admit to nothing, but he did. He had it in his sweatpants, and they brought the dogs in 3 pounds, which they're saying is like a class D. It's lower than 5 pounds. So, but either he was going to a big party or he's going to sell some of this stuff because 3 pounds is a lot of weed. Your thoughts, man?
I want to double down real first what I said, because I think at some point the charge is going to get brought down. He'll do something as a lawyer, spend a little time down there, good old Turkey, talk to some people, somebody knows somebody, whatever the case may be. And believe it or not, that's how justice works. That's how it works, bro. I am not going to act like I don't know that exists. So I won't even speak to that part no more than that. But I didn't know he's a free agent. That makes it even worse. It makes it worse, bro, because as you know, as sometimes these young cats got to realize, and we all got to, whether you're an athlete, whatever the case may be, and I say this to all younger black men, younger and old, your decision making, man, we don't have the room or the latitude to make bad decisions, big bad decisions. So to me, you know, you made enough money, bro, in your lifetime to where you should not be driving all buzzed out. Somebody could be driving for you. You could have been in another car with your 3 bags, your 3 pounds in your bag. Bro, you good. You out there all buzzed up driving, giving them an opportunity to pull you over, because you are. You might have done something the wrong way. You might have swerved, whatever the case may be. And now they'll look for an opportunity to pull you over. They pull you over, bang. And like you said, if they come to you, they're going to smell it. But what I've noticed, man, and this maybe it's just me, I just noticed in the past several years, people that are smoking weed aren't aware that we know you're smoking weed. You may not see you smoking it, but we know you're smoking it. So my point is, when they walk into that car, they see him doing this. But there's reasons why we just know you are. And it's that, and they don't understand it. They really don't understand this other reason to detect and show. And what's got, and maybe it's just me. I think weed has gotten so addicted. I don't want to hear that word because everybody act like weed is not addicted. Maybe 20, 30 years ago, I'll say that was true. But they got to the point now where weed is consuming so much of their life to where they're not thinking correctly, bro. I see it around me. They're not thinking strong. They're not thinking at all. And their focus is on the weed. I just got to get high. I got to get high. I got to get high. And maybe they're running from something. But to go back to him, I'm going to say, bro, you got to handle that in a better situation. I think that's his own personal weed. I'll be honest with you. I don't think he's traveling at all. I just think the bro smoked that much and he's carrying along with him. I really do believe it.
2 pounds is a lot to smoke.
But but like he said though, what if he, you know, you like to kind of store up? You might be making a move somewhere.
Exactly. That's his weed, bro. I don't think he's out there traveling. They're gonna look at it that way, but I think he was just, if you're smoking a lot of weed and you making millions a year, bro, 3 pounds ain't nothing. Hey,
look, put it on the scale. Let me get that 3 pound sack, dog.
Yeah.
So I think, like you're saying, the big family bag of potato chips sitting there in the passenger side was a big giveaway that he was.
The smell alone, bro. I know y'all have experienced this. You be standing in the street corner, man, they ride by you, you know. I'm serious, man. And then, you know, I've seen people walk by me in public situations where they're trying to act like, it's like, you've been smoking weed at some point, bro. I mean, they smoke so much, it comes out of their pores, bro. Yeah. It does. And they act like society doesn't know it. So my point is, you got to have your decision making. And to me, you're a free agent. You know, so you're really, you know, morally and from your character, forget what doing on the court, you should be prepared to step into a bigger contract. Now you got this, how good you are, they can use as leverage, man, to knock your numbers down and not pay you as much. And that's the decision making. So if you want to get high, there's ways to do. You can't tell me realistically, for the past 10 to 20 years, people haven't been getting high on weed and not getting caught. I'm just saying, you got to be smarter about it. You got to be smarter. You can't be driving cross country, you know, toting it up, getting whatever, and expect, you know, you may not get pulled over. It's just, bro. I mean, your funny story. There was a cat that said to me, I got an Uber the other day. The guy said to me, came out of the train station, I got an Uber. The guy said to me, I don't understand this. He said, I took a guy the other day. He got out of the train station and he wanted me to take him to Boston, Mass. And I said, why did you take the train there? He said, no, I like riding an Uber. Bingo. He paid the Uber $250, but guess what? Hey, Harold, you can't afford $250, $500. You can't afford $100.
Hey, you know what though? You mentioned two, but you don't know if nobody gonna pick him up. Two teams will pick him up automatically. OKC and the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah. I mean, I think he averages like 13 points a game and maybe single digits in rebounds. So he's not like, but he's one of those players that he's a dog. He's a dog, but you know.
He play for me.
Yeah, I know, Black. I think you're right, Black. They're gonna use that as leverage and saying, you know what? Until this clears up, blah 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 blah, bang 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 bang, we can offer you this. And so, yeah, I think that may have hurt his brand a little bit. But we'll see what happens over the summer. This is the last time I'm gonna hit this story. Deshaun Watson. It seems like he won over Black, the Cleveland Browns, and you know the team and all that other stuff. He makes a, he had a little, press conference saying, you know what, I haven't done this, blah 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 blah, this that the other. The more he talks, the more I'm like, nah, this guy is guilty of a lot more than what he's saying. And it's almost like he's trying to put on an act, or he's being really coached up in public relations to do this. So what are your thoughts about this, man? Because it seems to be tightening up on him.
Yeah, to me, I've always said this. A lot of times I've seen this in divorce situations where each spouse go get a speaking head for them, speaking mouth for it. They go get lawyers. And you assume because you get this lawyer, they have your best interest at heart. No, bro, they have your tab at heart. They just have your tab. They're going to keep that tab running, keep it going. And at this point right now, people are going to believe what they want to believe about Deshaun Watson. It's out there. I mean, bro, you can't wipe away 66 paid masseuse in the past year and a half. You can't get away from that. There's something wrong with that. You can act like that's no, bro, there's something wrong with it. We all have, like I said, kinking as well. There's something wrong. That's beyond kink. There's something wrong. So my point in saying that is this. You could go up and go, I'm innocent, and you said about the Cleveland, who works for the Cleveland Browns are gonna basically at this point put their job and their paycheck in jeopardy about, acting like they're not on board with this. You have to be, bro. If you're getting paid by the organization, guess what? Quit. All you have to be. With that being said, to me, bro, if you got 235 guaranteed coming, you need to show some humbleness. Settle this, get this off the way. Do what you got to do at the NFL and get your ass on the field. Stop this. I'm innocent. Ain't nowhere in the world, bro. There's too much smoke. There's too much smoke, bro. There's way too much smoke. They act like you just basically went in the room, paid them, they massaged you, and they left. No. So my point in saying that is, guess what? Tell your lawyer, if he doesn't want to hear that, go find someone that will and negotiate, basically humble up, apologize, and be honest. Because one thing about Americans, they are forgiving, bro. They are forgiving. If you go out there and get real about it, people won't look at you. Everybody ain't gonna love you. But this going on, acting like these 23-4 women out of nowhere looked at you as a football player and decided to make up stuff against you, bro. It's just, come on, man. At some point, you got to see reality. And yes, you're with Cleveland. But the NFL, for some reason, they got the power to do so. If all it would take, in my opinion, if advertisers from the NFL say, you know what? We don't want to advertise if this guy's playing. That's all it's got to take. And guess what? You would never see a 235 or you'll never be on the field. Trust me, it can happen. So my point is, you're standing there, but that. No, bro. You need to show some compassion towards these women. What you did, own up to what you did. And I'm not saying throw yourself on the sword, but at some point, stop this. I'm innocent. Bro, your ass didn't sit out for a year and a half for nothing. Stop it, Deshaun. It is what it is. I mean, at some point, if you need help, you got to go get it. You got to own up to it. And he refuses to do so. And I'll say this and I'll get out of the way. I know Cleveland want what they want from him. I got no problem. Like I said last week, he has a right to make a living. But you are enabling him. You're enabling him in a sense by giving all him that money and saying, bro, all we care about is that you can just sling this football because that's all we want. You're enabling him. And we've seen that. It's just like right now, I saw in the news, I'm sorry if I'm getting a little long, but I saw in the news last week with the guy with Michigan, the doctor, I can't think of his name, Michigan. The ladies, a bunch of those ladies are suing the FBI. And I first saw I said, why are they suing the FBI? Because the FBI knew this nut was doing this and they did nothing to stop him. They knew years before he came down and they did nothing. So there you go. It's like, bro, it is what it is. No one, no human being deserves to be treated in a such manner. It should not be happening. I don't care how much money you make. I don't care what you do for a living. I don't care. When you cross that line, there's a price to pay. And I'll leave on that.
Ice, you're there in Ohio, man. What are they saying in Ohio about this, bro?
Well, a lot of people were very upset. I mean, a lot of Cleveland Browns fans saying they're not going to root for the team. A lot of people like, oh, you act as if he's innocent. So a lot of people are saying that. But the issue that a lot of people don't want to acknowledge or whatever, and again, you got to prove it, man. And like I said, they keep trying to find other ways. But again, he's not been, he's not guilty of any criminal act so far. He's not guilty of that. Even they mentioned they had some recent testimony by a police officer, and she was going through the three steps of so-called evidence that they had. But one thing she kept saying, well, if you look at the evidence, you could say that he really coerced somebody. I'm like, but that is an opinion. You need facts. And that's something they're having struggle with. I think he does have a major problem. He does need help. Women should not be treated like that. I say that all day long. But at the end of the day, it comes down to what you got to really be able to prove and whatnot. Another interesting point is now they're saying that Deshaun Watson said everybody's talking about the PDA and where you come up with the $100,000. He mentioned, now I don't know if it's true, that the idea for the $100,000 came from the Miami Dolphins. And the owner, when they were considering really looking at him, saying, look, if we're going to get you, we need to make this all go away. So here's how we do it. We offer $100,000 to all the women that are coming for you now, and we clear it up that way. So that's what he's saying. But the other part that he said, and I know he first came out in March, but in his recent press conference, he said some magic words. And Black Thor, you hit on it already earlier. Somebody in Cleveland's been in his ear and talked to him. He's never come out and said, oh, I'm super sorry, and that shows a bunch of remorse. He said, I didn't make anybody do anything they didn't want to do. But the one thing he said, and these are the magic words in America, ladies and gentlemen, I'm in counseling. He said that. I'm in counseling. Somebody whispered, you better start seeking help. So at that point, is it going to be all forgiven? No. But he set a precedent now. I'm in counseling. I didn't never come out and said what I did was wrong. No. But I'm getting help for something. I'm getting help counseling for my behavior. And when you say that, as much as people hate it, as you said earlier, people love a great comeback story. When he said that, some people are going to say, well, at least he's trying to give help and maybe he doesn't know how to stop himself. That's where it starts. Those are the magic words, love it or hate it. When I listened to that conference, and I was like, he said, but I'm getting counseling. And I'm like, wow. Now everybody that was pissed off is going to be pissed off, whatever. But that's kind of his first steps. And he might be faking it or whatever. I don't know the situation, but that's the step, man. And that's how it kind of goes back to moving forward, because he's admitting something. It's kind of like Pete Rose in baseball. Sign here, Pete. Did you bet on baseball? Well, be eligible for the Hall. Just sign the paper. But Deshaun Watson understands too. I think he understands what's ahead of him. I still think he has a major problem. I don't know if it's going to go away like that, but I think Cleveland, as much as we want to act as if Cleveland is all about the football, I don't think they're damn stupid. With about $235 million, they want him on the field. Right. They want him on the field. Now it's like we have to do something to take steps forward in order to make this happen. And that starts with you receiving counseling from a legitimate source, and we take it from there, one day at a time. And you notice he's saying the same script. I just want to play football. I'm doing whatever I got to do to get back on the field. I just want to right this wrong, get this together, and get myself right. And that's what I care about. That's where it starts.
Right. Let's go to the Major League Baseball report with Ice Water. What you got for me, man?
Yeah, you mentioned, we'll talk about that story after the standings. Let's do the standings real quick about the Baltimore, the brothers feud over in Baltimore about trying to sell the team. In the AL East, the Yankees lead Toronto by 9 games. In the AL Central, Minnesota leads Cleveland by 2.5. Cleveland's made a real strong run lately. They're 7-3 in their last 10. In the AL West, Houston leads Texas. Texas has moved up into second place. They're 8.5 games back. In the NL East, the Mets lead Atlanta by 5 games. Only 5 now. They were behind a lot more earlier, but Atlanta has won 10 straight. So they're making a move, getting close to the Mets. In the NL Central, St. Louis is now the new leader in the clubhouse. Again, St. Louis is in first place in the NL Central. Milwaukee is 2.5 back. You're like, what the hell happened? Milwaukee has struggled lately. 1-9 in their last 10. St. Louis is the new leader. In the NL West, as usual, the Dodgers are in first place, but they're not alone. They're now tied for first with San Diego. San Diego is 7-3 in their last 10. And I think San Francisco is maybe 3 games back in third place. So things are tightened up a little bit from that perspective. Puma, you mentioned out about the Orioles and the brothers having issues. There's a possibility where they're vying for control of the ownership. Their father, Mr. Angelos, has had the club for quite some time, like in the 90s. And one of the brothers mentioned that he thinks the brother John, who lives in Tennessee, wants to move the team to Tennessee. And the other brother's like, no. John is like, no, I'm not. I'm good. You remember that Baltimore, that team has been in Baltimore since 1954, is worth about $1.2 billion. And the thing about John possibly trying to move to Tennessee, I take that back to 1.2 billion. I'll get to that in a minute. But John lives in Tennessee with his wife, who's, I think, a country singer. Mm-hmm. So it'd be perfect for them to move to Tennessee. And the brother Luis is like, I know you're going to move him. I know you're going to move him. But John's come back and said, if I was going to move the team out of Baltimore, why in the hell will we spend here's when the 1.2 billion comes in, $1.2 billion to reinvest in Camden Yards.
Right.
$1.2 billion in Camden Yards. So that won't make a lot of sense. I think it's two brothers that are really frustrated with the situation, can't come to grips. The father kept everything together, kept it above board. Now it's going to be a mess to see what happens the rest of the way, who really grabs control of that franchise.
On another note too, and watch out for this story. It hasn't hit the news yet, but there's been some rumors here in Chicago that the Bears are maybe thinking about selling their team, and they'll get more than the Denver Broncos at that particular point. So just keep that in your memory bank, that you probably heard it here first. There are some rumors that the Bears are thinking about selling the Chicago Bears. Ooh. But let's go to the WNBA report with Black Thor.
They weigh shit on the Bears, actually, where they kind of manage that team for 10, 15 years. They should think about selling it. Strike with irons hot, Bears, sell the team. You know, the Sky basically, remember last year, Chicago Sky won the championship, but during the mid-season of last year, they were one of like the 8-9 game losing streak, and they turned around, they got it done, got into the playoffs, and basically we know what the history kind of wrote itself out to be. Well, don't look now, but they're doing some good things again. They're in the 3rd spot in the standings, and they took down the number 2 team in the standings, the Sun, last week. So could it be again that they're warming up? And, you know, Candace Parker has basically came out and said this is probably going to be her last and final year. So you kind of wonder how things are going to maybe kind of play itself out towards the end. But we'll keep a close eye on it. Even though we're taking a hiatus, we'll kind of keep a close eye. But at the same point, at the same time, the loss of Vegas Aces sitting at number 1, and Becky, you know, whoever kind of basically kind of makes it in the end, they're going to have to be reckoned with, that's for sure. There's some rookies this season that are coming in and kind of doing some good things. And one I want to speak about is the forward for Indiana, Nailja Smith, for the Fever. This young lady had broke the 20-point threshold the other night for the first time in her career, but she had like 3 triple doubles since she's been in the league. And you think about for a rookie coming in with that type of those type of stats, it's really impressive. The other night she had 21 points and 14 rebounds. Now, to me, the 21 points sounds good, but I'm more impressed with the 14 rebounds, because if she's going there getting dirty and getting 14 rebounds, yes, she's doing some work. As I spoke about last week when Taurasi got thrown out of the game, I think the refs this year are kind of fed up. They're not playing around, because there was a game a few days ago with the Dallas Wings. Ray, her last name always get me, man. You remember the young lady that was in Notre Dame, hit that big shot? But I'm going to say, oh my God, she was
That's going in our reels. That's going in.
Rejected for kicking the ball slightly, and it kind of went out of bounds. I went into the stands. They threw it out the game because the rule states if you throw the ball or kick the ball and it goes into the stands, you got to go. When I looked at the replay, I was surprised because she kicked it with no intent. It was a slight little kick, but the ball didn't make it into the stands. And it happened in the second quarter. And they looked at the film, I guess, during halftime and basically told her, don't even come back out. You're not playing. So, yeah, the refs are basically saying, we had enough. We've been putting up this nonsense. They're not going to put up any more. And we'll keep an eye out throughout the season. I mean, the rest of the season over the summer, see how things pan out. But right now, if you look at it, Aces and the Sun are basically kind of dominating with the Sky not too far behind.
Yeah. Some good reporting on both of your parts. Questions from the squad. Ice, what's your first question, man?
Do you think people are really the fans? Is there anything that would make fans literally walk away from watching NFL football? I thought about this for quite some time. Is there anything that can happen or whatever to make you go, I'm never watching that damn sport again?
I already know what Black gonna say. Black, what?
No, I don't think so, bro. Because to me, the NFL, their fans are so broad and versatile. Even if things going on Colin Kaepernick, there's a good amount of people that turned off and didn't watch. I mean, Puma was one, and I respect them. I really do. But I think the thing about football that is different than any other sport, something about it where it's once a week, what's more than that now, that it just brings excitement. Energy has excitement. It's talked about, and it encompasses so much, the game itself, to where it's a lore. It's a dynamic lore to where people want to overlook stuff. They overlook a lot of things when it comes down to football, bro. They just are. And then you have the thing that kind of really helped football too, college football. We don't probably talk about it enough, but college football is so huge in this country. So the same college football fans that may watch, let's say Kentucky play and they hang about Kentucky, guess what? Come Sunday, what are they watching? They're not tuning off the NFL, bro. They're just not. So I don't know what they can do where they can turn off even a quarter of their fans. I just don't think. I think some people in this country basically would kind of overlook what take place. They have a good way of PR kind of doing some things sometimes, not all the time, and kind of going around things and kind of smoothing things over. So a lot of times with football fans, they're fickle to the point because they love the game. They're mad, but it's short-lived, bro. It's short-lived. It doesn't last long. The anger kind of subsides. So for that reason, I just don't think so. And I just don't think so. I think they run their business well, bro. They run their business well. If you look at what they're doing now with Amazon, and I said this a few years ago, when they were streaming free games on Yahoo, people was like, I'm not watching Yahoo. Oh, okay. Okay. Right, Puma? I'm not getting to watch Yahoo. Guess what, bro? Thursday, you will be streaming on Amazon to watch football. And I'll say this real quick. It's a little off the beaten path to the question. I guarantee you right now, networks, Fox, all these networks, they're running scared, bro. They're running scared because if Amazon got it, it ain't gonna be long for Hulu gets it, Netflix or whatever, bro. And if they can pay more money, we may not see games on ABC, NBC, CBS anymore, bro. 5-10 years from now, NFL's going where the money's going.
Yeah. Football, NFL football, from this standpoint, has become a religion here in this country. And I've seen it in other countries too, being abroad, where they're up 3-4 o'clock in the morning watching NFL football. And it's become a religion. I think you have more people watching and attending football games than you have going to church. I'll say that again. You have more people watching NFL football and going to games, more folks going to those games on Sunday than church. And that's why I say it's a religion, because I remember being little, me and Mark going to our grandfather's church, and we're kind of like in our head, like, come on, Rev. Speed up so we can go watch the game. It don't take this long. Okay, I got the word. Let's go. And so it's become a religion, man, where people kind of set their day on Sunday and don't plan anything else but NFL football for 6 to 8 hours. And think about it now. I keep hearing Black say, I don't want to hear about NFL. Well, Too bad, because that's all they talking about on the sports station. OTAs, all that stuff. That's all, and people want, the reason why they do it is because people want to know. It's a religion. It's almost like they got to get their fix of the NFL, and the NFL has done a great job in making it mandatory that you watch, regardless of how you feel about things. It makes it mandatory for you to watch. Ice.
Yeah, I think it'll be very difficult. It have to be really something very drastic. There are a couple of things that have come across, and people still went back. The NFL, as you mentioned, they are masters at what they're masterminds at what they do. When there's an issue or problem, they have great marketing. They have great solutions, right? Even though the solutions are temporary, they come in, they go, "Oh, that's the problem. Okay, well, let's throw something on it, throw some tussin on it." And then we're gonna hold it for a minute, week or two, and they'll forget. And then, like Puma mentioned before, I was teasing the hell out of him because he was like, "Man, I ain't watching football." And I was like, "Super Bowl, Puma." "Oh man, yeah, damn, I'm watching. You know, they keep calling you. Puma, Puma, and you be like, "Man, everybody happy, buying, drinking, smoking, buying pizzas, and everything is going on.
3 pounds of weed.
Right? Okay, exactly. All the celebration going on, and people getting excited. Teams making the Super Bowl like the Bengals that haven't been there in eons. And I'm telling you, man, NFL does just enough to make you forget that tragedy or that bad thing until they can get you right back to your fix. And you go, "But I ain't never doing this again." You go, yeah. Got a bunch of fiends out there, baby. I wouldn't have heard about it. I heard about it on TV. Anyway.
And they get us when we little, man. They get us when we're little. They get us very young. And you just can't quit it. You just can't quit it. Black?
Yeah, my question kind of, hate to do it, but goes to football as well. I read this recently where 49ers tight end Greg Kettles, I think his name, Kettles, was saying that he would like to see the NFL basically add another bye week. If they want them to play more, add 2 bye weeks to the season to where give their bodies a chance to kind of recuperate more during the regular season. I want to get you guys' opinion on that.
Ice?
Okay, you saw my face. I was trying to hide it, but I couldn't help it. The hell is he talking about, man? I mean, why? I mean, I get it, but I mean, come on, man. What they're gonna do, I think, is the money's already there. It's always about the cash. We always say it's all about the money. So what are bye weeks gonna do? Here's what they're gonna do. They're gonna cut some weeks out for you, right? But here's what they're gonna do. They're gonna cut out the exhibition games, a couple of them. And then they're gonna add the 2 games in. So basically, when you do the math, it's the same amount of weeks, except they just removing something, because no matter what you say or how long you are off, the NFL still gets paid the same amount of money, ticket-wise, for the exhibition games. So they take a week off or pull 1 or 2 out and then let them have their rest wherever they need. It's the same thing. They're gonna work it out, but they're not gonna give you no extra weeks because they have a set regiment. And as much as they say they care about NFL players now because of all the CTEs and other stuff with concussions, the show still must go on, bro. So they now sit up here and give them 2 extra bye weeks and messing up the schedule. They already threw the damn Super Bowl off. When we know the Super Bowl was in February when it went off that time. So they got a schedule now. They're not going back, bro. They're not gonna let the Super Bowl move into March. You down there in March now. So that being said, it ain't nothing messing with March Madness. We already know what that. You got your timetable. Stay in your lane, bro. Stay in your lane.
I think the only way that happens is that if they start noticing, I don't think they'll do it when they add the games, but if they start noticing there's a lot more injuries, I think that may be in consideration in the summer meetings. I think that would be in consideration. I don't think it's a bad idea, but I think if they start noticing that these players are really getting hurt a lot, especially the star players, and they're not able to play, then I think that might be an option. Black?
Yeah, I think actually it's a good idea. I'm not sure they're ready for it yet, but to me, I think it's a good idea. It lengthens the season by 1 more week. It just does. And I always felt this about the NFL, and I don't think they're up on this yet. I think they should basically, the Super Bowl should be on a Saturday night, bro.
Definitely.
Super Bowl should be forget that 6 o'clock on Sunday.
Yeah.
They need to put that on a Saturday night.
Give us a day to recover.
Yes, man. I think it would even, you're not going to miss anything as far as rating. I don't know if they're scared of that or the TVs will probably feel they want it more on Sunday, but you put the Super Bowl on a Saturday, you got an all-day party, bro. You got no matter what town you go to, you got a party cookout all day. And if they can put that on the weekend, in my opinion, get it to the weekend of President's Day, and that's what that 1 week might do. They put that on President's Day weekend,
like
on the
3-day weekend. Oh yeah, they'll own it,
bro. Trust me, they have to put it on the calendar. That'll be on the calendar. Super Bowl will be on the calendar. I'm telling you, man. People will plan their vacations, their time off from work. It's amazing, bro. But I just think in the long run, they will go to it. I think it gives players a chance to kind of relax a little bit, kind of heal up. Initially, I know it sounds like, okay, all that, but when you think about it, 17 weeks of playing football, if you give them one more week of a bye, let's just say the average bye comes in week 3 or 4, and then you put the next one like week 8, 9, or 10, you wouldn't even notice it. You wouldn't even notice it. So the drop, and it's all when you put it in, but you wouldn't notice it.
Y'all gonna take off Super Bowl Sunday. Boy, y'all crazy as hell.
I tell you, man.
Yeah, I think I've been saying that for years, that I think they would get more bang for the buck that whole weekend.
Dude, people, I feel y'all. Dude, people live for Super Bowl Sunday, bro. Trying to tell and I'm not saying Saturday would not work, but people live for Sunday. Everybody knows. They watching football. Ain't nobody going to work on Monday. Everybody knows that.
That's why they should do it on Saturday. Give us Sunday to recover.
Ain't nobody care about them damn employers. Nobody care about that shit. Everybody got their set up. Like, what you doing? We're going to get ready Saturday night, right? Then you cooking and you having a party beforehand and you get ready for Sunday. You going to school Monday? Hell no. You watching the game. You go down to Cincinnati. Where's those people at? The damn town was closed. It was closed on Monday. It's shut down, bro. It's a holiday. It's a holiday. It's a national holiday, bro. on Monday.
Ice, you got another question?
No, I'm done. I can't even come back off that.
There's a question that I have. You got Richard Sherman, who is going to be joining Amazon, the coverage team. You got Jason Garrett is going to be taking over for Drew Brees. What the hell's going on, Black?
I'm gonna tell you something. Out of those two talents, I don't get it. I don't see Richard Sherman doing a good job. I know he's a highly educated man. I think they gotta stop looking at these names and evaluate people on what they can bring to the position. Mm-hmm. And that's what happened when you had that tight end from the Cowboys on Monday Night Football. Jason, everybody was no. How do you do the job, bro? Are you prepared to basically bring something? And I don't think and Jason Garrett. I thought Drew Brees was decent. If you fire Drew Brees, you're going to fire Jason Garrett halfway during the season. I'm going to tell you. I just don't get it. Who's picking these guys out? Richard Sherman? Realistically, Richard Sherman. There's got to be. How about this? Realistically, there are guys out there that went to school for this. Young ladies and young men that went to school for this. Look at the woman that's at NBC now, at ESPN. That's what they went to school for. How about giving them opportunity? Stop going to get these names that can't live up to the job and throw them in there and fire them next year. They're not cut for that, bro. You just can't walk into a position. That's like me basically going to a microphone now, stand on the stage and trying to sing because I want to sing. Hell, you got to be prepared for some of this, bro. So I don't know who's really sitting around, especially NBC, who's doing the hiring, but you got to be kidding me. Jason Garrett? I got to say to me, if you say to me, if you're going to put him on a separate channel and he's going to diagnose plays after they happen, guess what? I'm with you. I'm all there. But to put him on a pregame show to do what? To do what?
Yeah, I think part of it, though, is, like you said, you got to show some type of talent. Just because you played the game. Don't get me wrong, you know all the ins and outs of it. In order to deliver and do the broadcast journalism and whatnot and deliver to people what they need to hear, you got to have some type of talent. That does take some type of skill. And the guys that do it well, they're able to to transfer over because they have those skills too. But you just want to throw somebody out there because he's a talking head and go, oh, blah, 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 blah. Doesn't mean that you're going to be good at that. There's a reason why some great football players can never be great coaches. There's a reason why, and they keep throwing these guys up there. I wonder if they do screen tests, they do any practice pilots, whatever, because as Blackthorn mentioned, after a while, you're going to always have that one player on there or somebody that's been close to the game, but you need some expertise too, people that actually know the rules in the game and they can deliver and let you know what's happening from that standpoint as well.
Yeah. I want to see it because when they mentioned Tony Romo, I was like the same thing. What the hell Tony Romo going to tell me about football? And he worked out. So maybe they're trying to strike, some kind of strike some gold with these two guys. Maybe they'll work out. I don't know. I want to see it.
Well, I'm going to say this about Tony Romo. And, beyond what you may think of Tony Romo, don't get me wrong, Tony Romo was great with X and O's, but Tony Romo has a personality, bro. Mm-hmm. He brought personality to, and that's when you think about John Madden. That's what John Madden brought. I remember hearing Pat Summerall said, he said, my biggest job, the hardest thing for me to do was to stay out of John's way. He said, I just want to stay out of his way. He said, I don't want to be in John's way. He said, I want to say just a little and let John go. And because John had that personality that just filled up the whole stadium. And you can't tell me Richard Sherman. Realistically, I'm just being honest. And personality, what's the name? Yeah. I remember they used to have what's the name on TV? What's his name? Dan Marino? It was painful to watch him. Hurt.
That was awesome.
None.
But who would have thought RG3 would be as he is now? I mean, because I think I can listen to him all day talk about football.
There it is again. But my point is, when you see it.
Mm-hmm.
You know when you see it. We never saw RG off camera really talking. We never seen that. We just being him to perform. But you're right. He's awesome, bro. I mean, the guy's personality is there, man. I saw him on TV a couple of days ago. I mean, he takes any topic and make you want to listen to it.
Yeah,
that's personality. It's how you deliver it. And I don't see Richard Sherman. I mean, got nothing against the brother. I have nothing against him. I just don't think he's capable of doing that. I just don't think so.
Okay. Last second shot. Ice.
All right. I'm gonna jump in Blackthorn's lane. WNBA. Y'all don't think I'm listening because I don't give no report, but got a report for y'all. Former Buckeye Kelsey Mitchell is balling. Y'all need to make her all-star. 5 years in the league. She's on a team that they went through a lot of coaching changes. She's putting the work in. One of the top scorers in that league right now. I'm not saying that because her dad is now the men's head basketball coach at Wilberforce University. Woo woo. But I'm saying it because she's playing great basketball. Can we make this sister an all-star? Go, Kelsey.
Black.
I was reading this the other day, man. This kind of like basically, we talked about football, and this kind of right in there with football, man. Marion Barber died a few weeks ago. And there was another Cowboys receiver they saw him like last year. He didn't even recognize him. And you think about Marion Barber being 36 years old. And some people were saying basically, when he played with Bill Parcells, they gave him the ball way too much. They want to believe that it was CTE. The guy looked homeless. It's just sad to think about it. Marion Barber, that wasn't that long ago, man, when he was a killer on the field. So I know, we enjoy the game, we like the game, but it's just sad to come across stories like that, bro. Very sad when you look at it. If someone's 36 years old, he brought us joy and entertainment to watch. And look what he paid for it. He paid his life.
Yeah,
that's some tough stuff.
Yeah, I have two really quick ones. The PGA is in trouble. This might help you, PGA. You might want to consider getting a commissioner. You might want to consider getting a commissioner for that league because y'all in trouble and y'all got blindsided by Saudi Arabia and them taking your players. So you might want to consider getting a commissioner. The other one, I just saw a picture. I think I'm gonna post up when I post this show of Eli Manning and Tim Tebow, and they said one of these guys won 2 Super Bowl and is a potential Hall of Famer. And if you didn't know anything about these two guys, you saw Eli Manning looking like a guy, just a guy off the street, and Tebow looking kind of jacked, like he played the game. And who would have thought that Eli Manning would have 2 Super Bowls and maybe on his way to the Hall of Fame? And the potential of Tebow was supposed to be that he was supposed to be that type of player. But, football is a funny sport that way. We'll see you in the NFL season. We're going to take the summer off. Check out our shows. Check out all our shows and catch up. Peace.
Cheers.